Hey everyone, my name is Dr. Dolores Tarver. I'm a licensed psychologist here in Georgia, and it is time for the TT Time with Dr. Tarver is a wellness-based podcast. It is not intended to be a substitute for a relationship with a licensed mental health provider. Welcome to February, everyone. We are going to be focusing this month on a lot of different topics related to love and relationships, but I do want to be mindful that February represents a lot of different things. So there's Teen Intimate Partner Violence Education and Awareness Month, Heart Health, Black History Month. So there are a lot of things that people may be experiencing during this month, a lot of emotions that people may be experiencing. And we do know that whereas this month can be a time of love, excitement, engagements, anniversaries, meaningful friendships, it can also be a time of isolation or dread, hurtful reminders, critical and controlling engagements that people may be in, false perceptions that may be on social media, unrealistic expectations that we may have of ourselves and others, and then also that we may be using some fillers to try to get through some of the difficult times or to manage voids that we have. So as we kick off this season of episodes in February, our Free to Be Me series, we want to start with episode 1, which is pressure free, loving relationships with self and others. So I last month did a scripture and something to meditate on and an empowering, encouraging word. I like that, so I'm going to keep that up for this month. So our scripture for today, 1 John 4 and 16, our New International Version. You know that's my favorite. And so we know and rely on the love God has for us. God is love. Whoever lives in love lives in God and God in them. Your word of encouragement actually comes from the Gratefulness Me blog. So they had a lot of different, I think it was 136 maybe, different words of encouragement and affirmation on that blog. But two of the ones I liked a lot were I listen with love to my body's messages and I accept all of me unconditionally. That's a powerful word, isn't it? You want to focus this month on guided meditations around self love because this is a time when we often will neglect loving ourselves and we can tend to become very other focused. So I want to encourage you to stay in that space of making sure you're doing loving things for you, not just for others this month. So I know that not everyone recognizes February 14th, but I do know that for a lot of people, February 14th can be a time of excitement. But again, it can also be a time of dread or loneliness and isolation. And so I want to, in this episode, just kind of tap into some of these different areas. We're going to be focusing later on in this series more in depth about unhealthy relationship dynamics, our difficulty being able to let go of unhealthy relationships, and some of the factors that go into us picking the same types of people, whether that to be friends with or to be in relationships with. But I want to just in this episode kind of do some highlights around how some of those factors can be contributing to how one might be approaching February 14th. So if you are in a place where you are dreading February 14th, maybe because you're single, I want to let you know that your worth is not attached to your partner relationship status. And often you will hear on, I think some of the people that are doing podcasting or are influencers will talk a lot about things that single people say when they're single to justify them being single. And they are actually encouraging singleness. I will tell you that your worth was never tied to who you were in a relationship with. That is not a way of justifying someone being single, but it is recognizing that who you are is a reflection of who you are and not what you do or who you date. So there are values that you have. There are things that you are purposed to do. There are gifts that you have. But also there is just the fact that you show up and are you every day and you do the very, very best that you can do. That's enough. You don't have to be attached to someone in order for your worth to be recognized or valued. I also recognize that for some people, there are a lot of breakups that may have happened or separations, divorces that could have occurred between now and maybe the last time you celebrated February 14th. Or perhaps you're a person that seems as if you feel like you're doomed to not have a relationship February 14th. You pick someone that's going along well, and then right before, or right around several months before, right around the time that relationship ends. And so you're just not in a good place right now. You do not want to see people snuggled up, cuddled up, getting engaged. You don't want to see pictures of people being, given loving kind of gestures on social media. And I encourage you to create a day around you loving you. That may be a day that includes grieving because you may be hurting. There may be some things different. You may be missing someone in this moment. And it is absolutely necessary for you to experience sadness. So grieve and also do some things you enjoy. I would encourage you to take a break from social media and instead plan a day around things that you find relaxing and joyful. You may want to get out in the nature, take some pictures. Yeah, you might want to get a massage, mani-pedi, movie, painting, dancing, prepare a meal. These are things that you can do outside of your home or in your home, things that you can do by yourself or things you can do with friends. But I do want you to be intentional about loving yourself, particularly if you are feeling sadness or loneliness. Maybe you feel like you're not complete right now, or you may be engaging in some of that self loathing behavior and beating yourself up because you're not with someone. I encourage you to go back to that word of affirmation about who you are and what you're deserving of, and to accept yourself and to listen to your body and allow yourself to do things that show yourself that you are loved. There are people who just started dating or just got to know someone. They're not even sure what the relationship is going to be. And I will encourage you to please take pressure off of someone you are just getting to know around February 14th. That is not a measure of your relationship or how it may or may not progress. So be thoughtful that this is new and think about how you would treat any other Tuesday. So, or any other day of the week. So you don't have to have these unrealistic expectations about what February 14th would mean when you are 1, 2, 3 weeks into getting to know someone. Have you even had a conversation with this person about where you all are progressing in your relationship, what exactly this is? And I know a lot of times we're uncomfortable around putting definitions about when we're first meeting people, but I encourage you to have an open conversation as opposed to making assumptions about what you think should be happening or what you would expect of this other person. That will stop you from having a lot of confusion later on down the line. Some of you are dating, you're married, you're in long-term committed relationships, and you are financially strained right now. We know that things are very expensive in this season. And so we also want to be mindful of not overtaxing our budgets because we feel like we have to prove to this imaginary group of people who are looking at our lives and whether or not they see us as being loving. Are they going to feel like we love each other if we don't do these grand things for each other? There are a lot of ways that you can love on someone while being very mindful of your budget. So utilize those coupons. There is no shame in using a coupon. You can cook a meal at home together. You can have romantic music and dance. You can look at your favorite movies and share memories. You can give each other massages or facials, baths, couples yoga. The goal is to be thoughtful because I know some of you think Netflix and chill is your go-to for everything. And there isn't anything wrong with a movie and spending time together. But plan something. It should be different if it is your intention to show this person a different experience. Then make sure that you're doing something that is not typical of what you would do um, on your regular date night. And I also want to be very clear with people who are dating, married. Valentine's Day, or February 14th, for those that don't necessarily celebrate it in that way, Perhaps you call it Black Love Day or Loving Me Day, whatever it may be for you. That is not a measure of whether or not you love someone because you do something on this particular day. Loving each other means that you're engaging in loving types of behaviors throughout your days, throughout your weeks, throughout your months and years together. So neither should this be an opportunity for you to try to make amends because you have not been showing up to be the partner that the person you love deserves or the friend that the person that you love deserves, right? So if you are needing to um, make some apologies and make some behavior changes, then you do so because you are absolutely wanting to be different and you are making amends for something that you know was wrong. We all make mistakes, but this should not be an opportunity for you to try to persuade someone that you're not who you are or give someone a false expectation of who you're going to be. So if we want to be in loving, genuine relationships, then we need to be genuine in how we're loving people. If you are in a critical or negative, abusive relationship and you are feeling forced to engage in activities, either to stop this person's wrath or possibly to mitigate it or to keep up appearances, do know that there are some resources available for you. They give you a couple of 1-800 numbers. One is 1-800-799-7233, which is the National Domestic Violence Hotline. Again, that is 1-800-799-7233. And you recognizing this is a month for loving you, it is never too late to create a plan to figure out how you're going to leave an abusive relationship. Or if you are the victim of rape, sexual assault, abuse, incest, 1-800-656-4673 is a resource for you to call to get support. Again, that's 1-800-656-4673. If you are a person who is looking to fill a void, so you are now negotiating with, well, come over and see me after you're done with this other person. Or just as long as it's before 12:01, before it hits the 16th, which unfortunately people have begun to associate with the side piece day. In other words, you're not the primary person who someone is in a relationship. You are secondary, tertiary, or on down the line. And so you are finding yourself negotiating or bargaining with someone in order for them to give you some time. Or you find yourself accepting anything. They're showing up, they're drunk, they're showing up, they're late, they're showing up and they haven't been thoughtful, and they have expectations of sexual activity, or they have expectations that, hey, I'm here, so I don't want to hear any negative words from you. And they come and they go to sleep, or they come and they're on their phone or watching TV or distracted. I want you to be aware that you deserve to be loved. But first, you have to start with loving you. So be mindful of it, not engaging in behaviors that you are going to feel upset about in the days ahead. So if this is behavior you've seen before and you said you weren't going to put up with it, but that loneliness, that boredom kicked in, that just not wanting to be by yourself, and you accepted some things that you're working to try to let go of, I do encourage you that it's, again, never too late for you to decide that this time is going to be the last time. And I can, just like I sent that text, I can rescind that text. Just like I extended that invitation, I can take back that invitation and realize that you are worth being loved in a way that you deserve. And you are going to first start by being loving to you. So choose to be loving to yourself this month. Not just this month, every month, but in particular, if you are recognizing that you have not been loving yourself in the way that you deserve, February is a great month to get started as we begin to create some patterns toward you having the type of healthy relationship with yourself and others that you desire. So we'll continue this discussion in our February episodes. But until then, As always, be well.